Welcome to ShiftWatch. I'm your host, Starbuck. I've been talking about resonating with vibrations for a while now, but greater focus recently has been drawn to sound and vibrations. More than one program I've entertained myself with recently all seem to be centered on medieval times. Think Game of Thrones. And during the broadcasts, the idea that stories were songs got stuck in my attention. You know, when they refer to songs will be written to honor your exploits. Hence, the sound vibration awareness that's taken up residency in my field. Last week, I was invited to the Truthstream podcast with Joe and Scott, and among the multidimensional topics we touched on, current DNA activations was one, and we shared some physical attributes that have changed in our awarenesses. Next, I've been bringing you reliable resources to inform and track solar influences on the planet, but today I brought you something I'd never seen before, a cloud avalanche. Then, all of these preparations for contact are leading somewhere, and I'm sharing a recording of a telomere, a light being, making their way to the surface. Soon, they will be seeking ambassadors and emissaries. And finally, I've come to a conclusion over the past few weeks that I've taken achieving my meditative state for granted. I've noticed in conversations with others that they have work to do to find that space. Looking back, meditation didn't just fall in my lap. I tried everything until transcendental meditation came my way and provided a simple solution. That's when the Maharishi, George Harrison, and a mantra would become part of my guidance system for connecting to higher realms. I began the episode referring to sound vibration. There'll be a closing thought waiting for you at the end from George that'll tie it all together.
Well, I was wondering, so for me, a lot of really strange things happened on a hike that I had myself. I won't get too into the details, but it was very clairvoyant. Many of the clairs, not just one, and and I've sustained a certain amount of that, but it was particularly intense on this hike, and I found myself engaged in a conversation of sorts, and this was 5-6 years ago, and it laid out all the things that have since happened. Did your experiences heighten any of your clairvoyant abilities, or what do you have to say about that?
When I got into a meditative practice, it seemed like, first of all of my senses were much more acute than they were before. And my thought patterns just filled in. I was retrieving information that I was having discussions with my colleagues. I had no business knowing whatever I knew, but I knew what I knew. And when I went home at night, I would read material and found out that what I had just said was true. You just don't know where that's coming from, but it's in all of us. Look, we've stored all that Akashic knowledge in ourselves and tucked it away in strands of DNA that was just inactive. Right now, those strands are being reactivated, which is why when I say we're not learning anything new, we're recalling the things that we've had at our disposal all this time.
Okay, well, so as far as the DNA, I know from my understanding, it was spliced. And so is that splice, I suppose, for lack of a better word, is that what's going to be healed? So we're going to be truly in the DNA form that we were created to be, rather than... Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. As I understand it, our bodies contain 12 strands of DNA. We are functioning on 2 of them.
Right.
That's why we see the world that we do. Those other 10 that in past science we were told was junk DNA, it's not junk DNA. It's the rest of our DNA that's just waiting to be reactivated again. And all of the information we held is stored there. Now, the beauty of that information collectively, when we finally get to the next stage, is all of our Akashic records meld with everybody else's. Think about it. What are we doing here as souls? We're here to help spirit know more about itself, aren't we? We're part of the evolution process. So when we signed our soul contract, here are the lessons we signed up for. Nobody else is signing up for these. My journey is going to be different. And that's why when we meet people along the path, now we see they serve a purpose. They may be here for a while, they may just come by, but there was a purpose. They were going to trigger something else I was going to remember right now. And so when we understand that this ability for us to manifest things into our physicality right now is accelerating, be mindful of that and take advantage of it. Start to focus on the things, little co-creator, that you are helping the rest of us nurture into the new world.
Yeah, I wanted to respond to the DNA thing too.
Yeah, please.
It's not just us woo folk that have come up with this, idea that DNA can hold a tremendous amount of information. Science kind of went to work on this and figured out that 1 little gram of DNA can hold over a petabyte of data. So it's really not much of a leap to think of the kind of information you hold within you, and you can tap into that. And I think we're progressively doing more and more tap. I've had the same kind of experiences where you just know things and then you find out later that you were absolutely right. And you're thinking, how the hell did I know that?
Yeah, when you start to watch others, and now when I look back, I start to look at younger people, the generations behind us, and you see these kids that are so advanced, you know that they didn't come as handcuffed as we did. And something tells me that more of their DNA is active when they come into these incarnations.
Oh my gosh, we're very lucky to have. Oh my god. What timing match here there? Too ball. I need the password now. यही पुग्छ यो त ल बस्ने यतिकै उ गर्न हुन्छ है ओइ 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 Oh my god. अनि यता आउने त होइन यो आउँछ के आउँछ हल्का धेरै आउँदैन अलिकति ढुङ्गा आउँदै भेट्छ है त कम अन लैरो यसरी उपर खसिरहेको छ एकदम ठुलो यसो हामी त लकी रहेछौ यार अनि हो लैरो ग्लेसियर अब एकछिन छिटो आछ नि त्यही भनेको त कस्तो टाइमिङमा आछ के म त अनि के आको के हो यही हो के दाइ हेर्नुस् कस्तो खतरा छ यो हेर्नुस् लैरो हे अबिन भयो चिसो हावा आइराको छ रमाइलो चिसो भएको I guess we are the first one to have captured this kind of glacier, right? Oh my god!
And my health, after I began meditating, like changed. I changed. 35 pounds went somewhere else that I didn't understand. I had a history of high blood pressure. That's a history.
Wow.
I had rheumatoid, joint aches because I was a hockey player in my life. All that's gone. Now you explain how that phenomenon took place when it wasn't my intent for that to happen, but
Wow.
my physicality changed. And I'm just saying, when you get in touch with that source, the same things, my body just found where it was supposed to be. I
Right.
crave different things now, and it's not by design. It's not what I have in my head. I'm convinced that the universe just put me where I'm supposed to be. So whatever that ideal weight I was supposed to be at my age, man, when I left Baton Rouge, I was like 213, and it didn't feel good. These
Right.
days, I'm like 183, and I've been here forever. Don't know how I got here, and I don't vary much from there.
All right, I'm
Right?
gonna start meditating more.
Yeah.
I wanted to know some method of enlarging my own consciousness, and that's meditation. It's been there millions of years. It's always there. Through many years of pollution of consciousness through material energy and this association, then we've all ended up in a fallen state. But really, everybody is basically potentially divine. So yoga, all these methods are really ancient methods just to stop further pollution of your system and consciousness and to cleanse the system. The whole thing of purity that they talk about in religion is really a mental, physical and spiritual purity, which is obtained through discipline and through practice. So the meditation we did with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was to sit silently and to transcend through the sense of sound, like you can transcend with hearing or with touch or taste or vision, like I think some Buddhists meditate by concentrating on an object, like either a garden, Japanese gardens, or on candles looking into the flame, and they transcend that way. But this method was to transcend through sound. So you're given a mantra. The mantra brings all your body to rest. It calms everything down, and it brings sort of harmony and union just to all your senses. And this way your thoughts become fine and fine and fine until you can arrive at a point which is transcendental, which means beyond. It's beyond the senses, beyond intellect. But the change that happens through meditation, I mean, it's a gradual sort of thing. But the more you realize with anything, with just growing older, the more you realize it helps you in some way. With meditation, you're able to understand that there is this unity lying beneath everything. There's something there within every atom that holds it all together, and that in actual fact it really is one. But on an intellectual level, to say it is we are one, then, I mean, again, you miss the point. It's an experience. You have to really have that perception that it's one. Any time of the day, any situation you're in, you can get control of yourself just by sitting quietly and by turning off from the external problems that you have, noise and all this society, that you can go inside yourself where it's always calm and peaceful. It's like being on this level of consciousness. It's like the ocean, which is always changing, and the bottom of the ocean is always calm and still. And if you're not anchored to the bottom of the ocean, you're at the mercy of whatever change goes on. Now, this process of meditation or different types of yoga is all just a way to anchor yourself securely to that pure state of consciousness, to that state of being, so that you can still act out your life on the surface, but you remain anchored securely.
What is it about it that makes it so timeless?
Well, is it? First, it's simple, you know, and the repetition. You know, really, I think the thing about a mantra, you see, it's got a mantra in there, and mantras are, well, they call it a mystical sound vibration encased in a syllable. They has this power within it, and you know, it's just hypnotic, and it's kind of nice, you know. It's nice. I mean, I've done that mantra for ages. Once I chanted it for like 3 days non-stop, just driving through Europe. And you just get like hypnotized. You get up on some subtle level, which makes you feel so good that you don't want to stop.